Welcome to Creative Spaces Podcast with Guy Zwick, Chief Creative Officer of Highway 85 Creative. In each episode, we will discuss creative ways to define your space and build your brand.
Welcome to another live edition of the Creative Spaces Podcast. I'm joined by two special guests. And I'll have you guys introduce yourselves. You're not going to be able to hear it, Candy, but we can hear you. So, Candy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And welcome to the show yourself.
John Rice from TSN.
Beautiful.
Thank
And let's just jump right at Sean Green, Scott Samil. We're very, sincerely, we're very glad that you guys can come and grace us with your presence. So let's just jump right in. Candy, tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do. Not that everybody doesn't already know.
No, but I've established myself as the booth mom, and I am the mother of all rookies on the industry because I had a horrible first show, and the people who helped me and taught me, my main mentor said, pay it forward.
Just like that.
Just like that. And he said that was the only way I could pay him back was by paying it forward.
Look at that. That's a wonderful thing.
And I have done that since 1991. Any opportunity I've had to help somebody in this industry. And I've been writing for Exhibitor magazine since 96.
Okay.
Every month.
Really?
I've missed 1 month when they ran the Sizzle Awards.
Right.
And they decided to only run Sizzle, no columns. And 1 month I got off since 1996.
Wow.
But my thing is, how can I teach the people who are coming behind me? Because I consider us, I'll say, oldies in the industry. I'm over 25 years at doing this.
Right.
How can we pass it forward to the next generations?
It's a wonderful thing. I have to ask you, your accent is from?
Pardon?
Your accent. Where are you from?
Ohio.
That's Ohio.
Northwest Ohio.
It sounds a little. It's
south. People tell me I sound southern.
I thought I was going to say Oklahoma.
In 1980, I moved from Ohio. I got laid off by General Motors.
Right.
And moved from Ohio to Southern California.
Okay.
And another 11 years later, I got into trade shows.
All right. You sound a little bit like Jack Nichols's wife, too. She's from Ohio as well.
Okay.
But thanks for sharing. And then on to our next guest. A little bit about yourself, who you are, and what are you doing here?
I'm John Rice. I've worked with TSN Trade Show News Network since 1996.
Okay.
So TSN, we're the largest website for people to search what shows to go to, and the largest website for the news industry within the trade show industry.
Now, where are you guys based out of?
We are based, but we're owned by Tarsus, which is a large trade show organizer around the world.
Right.
With the TSN is a virtual company. I'm in Boston, and you can tell from my Boston accent.
We're going to come back to that because keep going. I have a question for you as well.
But we have people in Ohio, we have people in New Hampshire, Boston. Our corporate headquarters is in London, and our U.S. operations is in Milwaukee.
Okay, so it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Boston, or outside Boston?
Right outside Boston, in Newton, right outside the city.
I'll have a lot of family in Framingham. From New England.
I'm in Framingham all the time.
There you go. So. I guess one of the things that I love to talk to our guest is and Sean, please just jump in if I forget to hit some of the high points. But our whole theme at today's trade show is not a shelved theme. It's something that Guy and his whole team have lived for the last couple of years. They feel like a lot of people need to flip their thinking. Don't think of trade shows as a thing that you have to do. It's a cost center. I got to show up with a nice looking banner and give out some giveaways and then leave. Instead, be thankful for the opportunity. So I'm going to ask you the question, Candy, first. What are you most thankful about for the trade show industry and trade shows in general?
That I've gotten to pay it forward.
Really?
Basically, I ran into Lee Knight in 1995 at a SEMA conference, which then was the Computer Event Managers Association, which now is the Corporate Event Managers Association. So it's evolved. But I was walking around with a 5-inch binder, long before all the electronics we have now. And Lee looked at me and said, "What in the hell is that?" Okay. And I said, "This is my logistics system of how I track everything." And it was 5-tab binder. And I had a pocket full of quarters to go call because I was getting ready to do the Seabold show in Boston.
Yep.
And Lee said, "You want to come teach that at my show?" And who are you? Okay. So that started my entire career. of 2 years later, I had proposed to Lee that I went to his show. I took some classes, but I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
So I said, can I teach an all-day class of what I have learned by this time in 7 years? And can I teach a class to newbies in the industry to basically cut their learning curve of all the mistakes I made? And Lee's answer was no. Okay.
Why?
The next year I went back and said, can I do it? He just didn't see the value.
Got you.
And as I ran into other people, he got more feedback that, let me try it one
It's
year.
validated.
What do
Yeah.
you got to lose?
Value's there.
And my handout, this was my 22nd year of teaching it now.
Right.
And my handout's 164 pages long, single-spaced.
That's not a handout.
That's a book.
It's a book.
That's a book. And people have called me and said their house burned down. Can I get another copy? People have told me I've been laid off and walked out of the company before they let me take any of my personal stuff.
Wow.
But people consider this sort of the Bible of the industry.
Right.
And before I retire, I won't say this year, next year, before I retire, that entire thing is going to turn into a Q&A that people can buy either by the chapter or the whole book. Because
Wow.
there is nothing out there like it.
That's amazing. And I'll go back to your original part about being thankful. You're saying, hey, listen, people can fake it. You're not faking it. It's you do want to pay it forward. You had some great help back in the day, and now you're just trying to help people out in the same spot. Let me ask you a question. If someone went to the moon for 1 year and they were an exhibit professional and they left for a year, would they miss out? Would they miss out on a lot? Do we evolve every year so much where you kind of, do you have to be on
Okay, this year there's one transportation change
Right.
of how long drivers can drive, and that affects my logistics.
Okay, that's a good point. Now, and then the newbies that you're talking about, are these
My rookies.
are rookies? Is a rookie for you a first year, or first 5 years,
A
first 10
rookie is
years?
somebody who still says, I'm still learning, I'm open to learning. And I'm
But
still a rookie.
Yeah, then same. That's the next question, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
if you
still a rookie.
once you start trying
There's
to learn,
parts of this industry
Right.
that I will always be a rookie in. And when I took my CTSM test,
right?
there were parts of it and my CMP test I just planned on failing because they aren't something I embrace and enjoy.
Okay.
And I'll just go and hire people to do it.
There you go.
All exhibit managers do that. They hire out what they either don't like or don't want to do.
Fair enough.
You guys run into it at your
Every day-
exhibit house.
Yeah, every day. But that's
I tell
that's
people
the trick.
I'm horrible in color and design. Never turn me loose with a color palette. Okay? But never try to tell me when my truck's leaving and I can back out how many days and it isn't leaving on time either.
All right. Now,
So
there you go.
like I say,
Play into your
there's
strengths.
things that I love, strengths and weaknesses.
So, and then I guess I'm going to go back to you. Same question to you. Thank you very much for the answer. I appreciate that. What are you, in terms of the industry, what are you most thankful for?
Well, I think it's the people in the industry.
Common thing.
You know, I've known Candy for decades. I've known so many people within the trade show industry for decades.
Right.
And the great thing about this industry, but then you have some people who start off on the exhibit side or the display side, and then they'll be at a venue, and then they'll be at a show organizer, and I've pretty much been an exhibitor since '96. I've been at Expo for IAE since '97, and you see people year after year. And but the connection between the people within this industry.
That's a wonderful answer, and I think that's one common theme that we've gotten from our guests is I'm thankful for the people. I mean, if you're going to be here more than a couple of years, 4 or 5 years, and then up to 50 years, if you're in it for that long, you have to like it.
It becomes a class reunion.
Yeah,
Really?
Of
exactly.
seeing people, and oh my God, I haven't seen you, I saw you on the show before. And it's funny because I can close my eyes. I just finished my 481st show. The show I did with you guys was 480.
What show was that?
That was supercomputing.
Okay.
You guys did my exhibit for supercomputing.
Right on.
Okay, but I just finished CES was 481.
481.
And this is shows where I've actually set up an exhibit. And after that many shows, I'll say, okay, when did I last run into XYZ? And I close my eyes, I see what's around me, and I know I was at Javits, or I know I was at Moscone, and I can remember the last time I ran into
That's
these
like a
people.
magic trick, like a guy knowing zip codes. You should do that.
But it's sort of one of those eidetic memory things, but I remember and can put
People.
myself where I ran into people and got to talk to them last.
Here's a zinger for you, and I know it's going to be a tough one for you to answer because you seem like a really, really big heart. But if you meet 10 people in the industry, how many of those people do you not like? Most of the people I meet are great people, but there's always a bad apple, right? Would you say that there's maybe 5% out there that's kind of not so good?
I'd have to say that there are 10% of the people that I hope to never cross paths with.
Just because they're just not
They are
honest?
not ethical.
Okay.
They are not fair. I know of an exhibit house who has an every Monday morning meeting about who their current customers are and how much can we take advantage of them based on how much of a rookie they are.
Sincerely?
Really. And I have run into those people in the industry, and those are the ones that when somebody calls and asks me, Candy, I'm putting out my RFP to these people, and I'll say, you may want to rethink that.
Yeah.
And people know that that's my thumbs down saying that these people are not looking out for your best interest. I don't want vendors, I want partners.
Sure. I mean, that's a really big statement. I mean, thank you for sharing. Same question to you. Would you say this similar?
I think a very small amount, because I think a lot of people who have issues in this industry leave the industry very quickly because
they're found out, right?
A lot of the people within this industry, just like I say, a lot of people bounce from different things within the industry. The word passes around whether a person is the right person or whether you should work with them. Because a lot of these shows, it's a big cement floor, and unless someone does a good job for each other and is honest and upfront, they don't last too long in this industry.
Beautiful.
It's amazing how small the industry really can be sometimes.
But when people talk about, it's $1 billion, how large the event industry is within the U.S. business, and it's billions of dollars, and people think, oh my God, it's enormous. But it's like you see the same amount of people, as Candy said, from show to show, from venue to venue, across the country.
Beautiful. You were going to say something, Candy? I'm sorry.
My favorite story was my first show.
Right.
I mean, talk about a rookie. And I had an exhibit that this company had bought used, trying to look bigger than they were. They hired me to set it up, but what they failed to tell me was there were no prints to it. And it was 356 pieces of pad wrap. So I had this mound that came off the truck that I'm looking at, and my boss had told me there was only one I&D guy that was a lead who'd ever seen this thing put together. And if I had a prayer of getting it up, I needed this guy. He told me what company he worked for. I called and said, can I hire Dan? And his name was Dan. I'm not using a fake name. I'm not going to say his last name. I'm not going to give the I&D company's name because they said I couldn't get him.
Really?
And then my boss said, call. It was a GES show called GES, just hire regular labor. Okay, I'll do that. But they called back, the I&D company, and said, we can get you Dan. Oh my, there is a God. Okay, I'm saved. But this was my first show. I had no idea what I was walking into.
How big was that booth ended up being?
40 by 60.
A 40 by 60 on a pallet with no diagram.
And I'm talking a full truckload of pad wrap.
You'll learn fast like that.
That's trial by fire.
Okay, so now I get there, I meet Dan, and Dan's not there. And the crew stops because they don't know what the heck to do. Well, then Dan's back, and the crew starts, and they do some stuff, and then Dan's gone again. I finally followed Dan. Okay? And Dan was working in Tandem's booth, an old IBM clone type company. He was spending half time there and half time in mine, and I went up to their booth mom and said, oh, I see you have Dan here. How do you get him? He's so good. I want to get him. And she says, you can't. We got his contract all year. I said, oh, I'm new. How do you do that? And they said, well, you pay his salary, you pay his airfare, you pay his hours because he stays through the whole show, checks in every morning, you pay his car rental, his food. I said, gee, that's funny. I am. We were both paying 100%.
You got paid.
I went back after I told my boss, called him, told him what was going on. It's not worth busting Dan's chops. He's not the one doing it. So basically, I continued to try to work with Dan and have him there when I knew we were to the next part so we could at least keep the guys moving. After the show, I called the president of the company, not knowing that I probably shouldn't have done that. And his answer was, get over it.
What did you do?
I have a file that I keep of those people in the industry. And I was working.
What color is that file?
Okay, that file has 5 names in it of people who have really burned me.
Wow.
Okay, now, fast forward to when I'm working for this little company in 1991 at the boost of .com.
Okay.
E-commerce.
Yeah, I was there.
I'm working for Intel.
Right.
What company are they using for their I&D?
Really?
Mr.
Yeah, so-and-so.
Get over it.
Right.
So I am at a show, and I was the one that got to tell him, I got over it. You're not hired for next year. So he lost the entire Intel account nationwide because he told me to get over it and wouldn't walk away from half of one I&D laborer's salary.
That conversation, was it a phone? Was it a
Face-to-face? A friend of mine was dating a guy from this company.
Right.
Who was one of the labor supervisors.
Right.
She took me to the party, and I said, I'm not sure I'm going to be welcome there.
Right.
And this guy, who was an icon of the industry, came up to me and said, Candy, I see that you teach at Exhibitor, and we ought to be working together. And I said, well, we would be if I hadn't gotten over it. I have 5 names in that file,
He's one of them.
and 3 of them, I got over it, and they are still burning from what I've done to them.
Are they still in the industry?
Yep.
Okay. So you let them know what was up. So that's remind me never to cross you, okay, Candy? So we just flip this around to a different part of it is trade shows in general. If there's one thing that the industry could improve upon just to make things better, what would that be?
I would say show managers getting more feedback from exhibitors, and I did something I've never been able to do before. I am on IAEE's education committee, and that education this year is going to include telling show managers what exhibitors want.
So back that up. So a show manager like.
So here Hall Erickson is, and they do a wonderful job.
Right.
They're like my favorite show manager.
Sure.
Okay. But how much feedback do they get from you after this show?
Right.
And what do they do with it?
Right. Everybody can improve.
Everybody can improve, but some show managers know they're doing so badly they don't even ask. They don't want to know.
Right.
And the thing is, it could be something as little as, I had one exhibit house say, why aren't you stopping by our exhibit? And I said, I have my short list. These people invited me.
Right.
Okay.
An invitation.
Okay, so what could they do to facilitate you getting to the part of the target audience here and really sending out an invitation?
Interesting.
Okay, but the show managers, if they aren't listening to their exhibitors, nothing's going to change.
Okay. It just becomes a little template. Every year, no chance. It's a great answer. Same question to you, my friend.
I think the scenario of communication between the exhibitors at the shows and the show organizers and the venues, because a lot of times with each individual part of the industry is doing really good work, but a lot of times tying together what's the best practices within the exhibitors and then tying it back into the shows and tying it back into the venues. A lot of times people are talking past each other. Yep. And a lot of times, because this is an industry with a lot of work and a lot of people are going from show to show, and it's hard to sit back and say, what's working, what's not working. But you look at a lot of exhibitors, but just on registration, but every show has a different reg companies, different standards, and then people go, as Candy says, you move from one show to another show, and it's like, and then the salespeople go, what happened to the leads? And it's like, oh, we're going on to a different reg standard or something else. It's just trying to tie things together within the industry.
Okay.
If I can make a comment on that, in my rookies class, I said, okay, you're going to go from this show, it's Experian, this one's CompuLeads, this one's Spargo. You go. Every one of them has a different size of how many spaces you can put in your custom answer in the handheld.
Right.
Okay, and does that fit into Salesforce? What CRM will that fit into? Wow. So it isn't as easy as just going and getting it, because if the guy puts in 28 characters of an answer and their field is only 21, you just lost the last couple words that may have made a difference in a sale. So it really gets down into the little detail and paying attention, and that's what I love to teach rookies. Right. Is the devil's in the details.
Of course. Now, do you think, if you look at it, you from 30,000 feet, do you think industry is in a better state of affairs in terms of communication than it was 10 years ago? No, it's worse, you think?
I think it is much worse, and the other thing is the errors I see on invoices on the show floor. Really? 80% of the invoices I receive from the on-site contractors, I can't sign off on.
Loaded
and
or
people,
wrong?
Okay, so I just did CES as an example.
Pretty small show.
Yeah, okay, the show kit says I get I had a 200 square foot meeting room there
Right.
for one of my clients. I get 2 hours of free electrical labor. It took me 5 phone calls to get that credit, and it's in the book.
And that's 5 phone calls from you who knows people and knows how to get around stuff.
And I still could not get the credit. No, they debited my account for $137.
Yeah, no, wrong
And
one.
so now I need 2 credits instead of 1. The other thing is, material handling's always been round trip.
Sure.
Okay, but POV, where I pull up with my car and I've got a 10 by 10 and I'm rolling in my little exhibit.
Right.
Okay, POV's always been one way. At CES this year they changed it back to 2-way, but you had to call to get a credit. So how much money are they making on these things? Either they're in the kit or it's like, okay, we just didn't program the computer that way.
Just nickel and diming.
Yes,
That-
but how many, when you've got how many exhibitors at CES? 3,285 I think we had this year. And if how many people lost money on that? I've had clients call me and say, Candy, we can't afford to do these shows anymore.
Because of that
And
kind
they
of stuff.
walk away.
Right.
The fork trucks that weigh your crates on the way in, if the fork truck driver doesn't hit clear, you not only end up with your weights, but the exhibitor who weighed before you.
Do you think that happens a little more than we
Oh,
think?
yes.
Really?
Oh, yes. There, like I say, at least 80% of the bills I get, I can't sign off on.
Let me ask you a question, and your own horn here if you have to. Is there any exhibit anywhere that you couldn't come in there and say, yeah, you could have done this better?
I will tell people if I can't save you more and I cost you, you don't pay me.
It's like that.
There's
Holy
that
smokes.
much waste out there.
Okay. Let me ask you another. It's kind of a selfish question because I'm there's a show right now going on in Barcelona. It's Mobile World Congress.
3GSM.
Yeah,
Mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
do that
GSM.
show. Yeah.
So if one of your clients needed to send just a bunch of collateral, some banner stands, a FedEx package, not even to when would you have sent that? Would you have waited till the week before on a Monday, 2-day FedEx International, or would you send it like?
Well, number one, I'm not sure I would have used FedEx.
Okay.
Okay.
What would you have done?
Air freight.
Even if it's just like
Small package air freight, I can't afford to lose it. What is the value of that package if it doesn't show up?
Yeah.
Okay, and when I look at the cost of transportation, I always bring up the first ad I ever saw in Exhibitor magazine for a transportation company.
Right.
And it was a van line truck and all white space around it.
Yeah.
It said contents, one trade show manager's career.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're saying
so you have
yeah.
to look at the value.
All right.
And if I send it via one of the people who does nothing but trade shows, they know the value of getting it there.
Okay.
They're going to track it.
So you will use a trade show, even if it's like, I say it was 5 banner stands, some collateral, and a big box of like giveaways of like 25. That big.
Okay.
So would you put it in one box?
I'm going to toot the horn of a company, but not saying their name.
Sure.
50% of their business is trade shows. Is that time sensitive or is it time critical? I think we're time critical.
Right.
Okay? What's
So
the other half of their business?
Sure.
Skin grafts. Are you saying time sensitive or time critical? Have these people put their butt on the line for those of us who can't afford for it not to get there?
Right.
You're the burn victim, and we've got to get, while you're debrided, we've got to get that skin to you. These are the kinds of companies that I want to work with, not the guy who's out there with a big freight.
So you wouldn't. So on something like this, you probably wouldn't use FedEx International.
Not at all.
Ever.
Ever.
It's just too dangerous.
Well,
A lot
no,
can
but
happen.
the dangerous part is you can't target a date when it gets there. With these air freight companies, you can send it ahead and their local agent will hold it.
So it
and
just,
then you know it's
means
there.
your timeline. You can't. So you have to have a plan for it. So in other words, you would never send something the Monday, a week before the show goes.
What I do, I mean, if I have to send something to save my clients money,
Right.
I was recently in New Orleans and I had 17 boxes go to my hotel
Okay.
of small stuff.
But you took it to
People
you.
were sending stuff in that was, let's say, shoebox size.
Sure.
You know, the stuff had to get there.
What would you have done in this case where, if say you're not going to be in Barcelona?
Okay.
But
What is their hotel? And I would have called and said, can you accept 3 boxes? Can you accept this? And if not, okay, who is an agent there that I can work with that will hold it
Okay.
and deliver it to the hotel the day the guy gets there?
So like a FedEx or
There are
UPS wouldn't be the way to do it then.
The big thing, I have clients in Singapore,
Right.
Saudi Arabia, who send stuff over here. If their stuff comes over and they ship from FedEx,
Right.
the FedEx in Saudi goes to Aramco in Houston.
Right.
Okay, now they forward it out of FedEx Houston through customs,
Right.
where this big Aramco plane lands, okay, they send it to the convention center. If Freeman doesn't already have the back dock of the supercomputing show, it turns around and goes back to Saudi. If it gets there one day too early, and you can't target a FedEx shipment.
Okay, so
cannot.
so if it's critical, do the right people. And I just learned something because I made that mistake.
Yeah.
So
And they have had stuff turned around after I said no. Ship it to me and my agent in whatever city we're in, and they will hold it. And if I have a couple people sending it in, they'll put it all in one pallet, and I don't hit the minimums. When I worked at Intel, our little network equipment devices were basically a server, weighed 43 pounds. I'd call and say, we've got a couple that either aren't working, we need more, whatever. If they shipped 3 of them FedEx, and we had a 200-pound minimum, and they were trying to save money with FedEx, and didn't send it with my air freight carrier who put them on one bill of lading that brought them in under one minimum for 129 pounds, okay? I paid for 3 minimums with FedEx because they don't tie them together under one piece of paper. Yes, they saved money on shipping, but they basically bit me in the butt on my material handling because I paid 3 minimums of 200 pounds apiece at $106 per minimum.
I hear it loud and clear. And I appreciate that.
You need to start taking her classes.
Well, no, I just got to hire better people. I
come into exhibit houses and train staff on all this.
Are you covering the show yourself this month? This week?
No, but I'm in business development.
Okay.
We have people who write and do the stories.
Okay, so you're just more networking.
Yeah.
They're running 12 of my blogs right now.
Yeah.
Wow. Well.
Yeah.
I
Whenever
think we're on 5.
Yeah.
Whenever they don't have something else, they slide one of mine
it's
in.
like they get candy in and with it. Yeah.
That's wonderful. The communication between the people doing the exhibit and the managers and perhaps even the delegates, that could be made better because you can always make a show better. Correct?
Well, and I say it's up to every exhibitor to meet the show manager and let them know what they want.
Yeah.
But my question is, how many of these exhibitors are you guys going to see? Whoever sold you the space come down and say thank you. You'll never see them.
Why is that?
Shows. To me, it's like, I want to come down. Did you have a good show? Walk around the last day when we're not busy.
Yeah.
And it's something that's, if it happens, I almost fall over.
Really?
Yeah.
If you were ever going to put on your own show, you do that.
Oh, I had a survey. I ran shows for the Indian casinos in California when they first started having their own venue centers.
Sure.
And doing shows. And I went down the last day and said, will you fill out this survey and tell me what I did wrong?
Look at that. Did they fill it out?
I got 97% approval rate, but I think it was because I took the time to ask.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, at least she took the time to care of what. We ran out of waste baskets at one show.
Sure.
That was the biggest complaint, that everybody who got the package of the table, 2 chairs, the little sign, didn't get their waste basket, so we put more in the aisle. So no, you didn't have it under the table. You had to maybe walk 2 booths down.
Right
We
here.
fixed it. But we came around and said, guys,
Next
unless
year.
we steal them out of the hotel rooms in this casino, you aren't getting a waste basket. Can you live with it if we put one there?
Right.
They were okay.
Cool. All right. Communication. Huh? Mention that.
Yeah.
Sean, what do you think? Should we let these nice people get on with their day?
I do believe so. I really appreciate you guys stopping by.
Yeah.
It's really informative.
Thank you for dropping some wisdom on me, my friend. I really appreciate that sincerely, and it was great to meet both of you guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you. Thanks a lot. No problem at all.
Thank you for listening to Creative Spaces Podcast. For more information about Highway 85 Creative, visit us at highway85creative.com.